The minus and plus button allow you to decrease and increase the value of the selected field on the display. For example, with the tempo selected, I can speed the tempo up and I can slow the tempo down. Or if I want to adjust the fader, I can select that and then turn the level down, turn it back up. So any field that you have selected, you can use the plus and minus to increase and decrease in small increments. The second row of buttons beneath the display make up the MPC Touch's transport. The first button is the Tap Tempo button. Tapping this button at a desired tempo will enter a new tempo into the software. So it adjusts the tempo based on the average of my taps. And it said that I tapped somewhere around 86.5 beats per minute. Holding Shift while pressing the Tap Tempo button will toggle you between the sequence tempo and the master tempo. Next is the Record button. Press the Record button to arm your sequence for recording. I'm going to select the sequence field on the display and scroll to select an unused sequence. And if I hit record, the sequence is now armed and ready to go. If I press play or play start, it will start recording. After the sequence plays through once while recording, Overdub will be enabled. This is just a 2-bar sequence. I'm going to program in a kick drum on a 4 on the floor pattern using note repeat set to quarter note. The sequence is armed and it's waiting for me to press play or play start, and I'll get a 1-bar count in. Now it's in overdub. Recording with the record button as opposed to with the overdub button will erase any note events in the sequence. For example, if I go back and hit record now, you will see it erase the kick drum that I actually recorded a second ago. Gonna undo that. Now, right next to the record button is the overdub button. When you record with overdub, you can record events into a sequence without overwriting any previously recorded events. And you can enable overdub before or during a recording. For instance, I'm going to start playback. I'm going to activate overdub and add a snare. The next button is the stop button. The stop button has several functions. First and foremost, pressing the stop button stops playback. You can also double press this button to silence a sample that is still sounding once a note stops playing. A quick demonstration. I'm going to play this sample that I brought in earlier. Now, even though I've taken my hand off the pad, the sample continues to play. If I double press the stop button, the sample stops. Quickly pressing this button 3 times will act as a MIDI panic and shut off all voices and stop all audio processing. You can also press this button to abort loading any files that are being loaded. Say, for instance, you select a project or program to load that you didn't mean to. Next up is the play button, and it does exactly what you think. Press this button to play your sequence from the audio pointer's current position. Currently, my audio pointer's position is almost at the end of bar 1. If I start playback using the play button, it will start from that point. The final button in the transport is the play start button. Press this button to start playback from bar 1 or your start point. In this case, my playhead is almost halfway through bar 2. If I hit play start, the playback will start from the beginning of the sequence and not from the current position. On the far right bottom of the MPC Touch, you will find the data dial. Use this dial to scroll through available menu options and adjust parameter values of the selected field in the display. For example, if I double tap the sequence field, I will get the sequence menu. Then I can use the data dial to scroll through to choose a sequence. I can actually select the sequence I want by pressing the data dial. With the sequence parameter field selected, I can still use the data dial knob to scroll through sequences without double tapping and selecting the menu. This applies to any selected field on the display. I can even use it to adjust the fader or the panning. Right above the data dial, there are 4 Qlink knobs. Use these touch-sensitive knobs to adjust various parameters and settings. The knobs can control one column of parameters at a time. To demonstrate this, I'm going to go to my menu, then go into Program Edit. From there, I'm going to go to the Samples page, and there are 4 columns of parameters available here. There's a layer column, a semi-column, a fine column, and a level column. As I said earlier, the knobs can control one column of parameters at a time, and the lights above the Qlink knobs indicate the currently selected column. So the light that's lit up right now is the 4th light, letting you know that the 4th column is selected. If I hit the Qlink button, it takes me to the 1st column. Now the first Qlink knob will scroll through the samples for the first layer of this pad. So as I scroll, you can see it changing to different samples. With the second light lit, now the Qlink knobs can be used to tune the samples in semitones. As I adjust the knob and play back the sample, listen to the pitch. If there was a sample in layer 2, then the second knob would adjust the semitone value for it. The third knob would do the same for layer 3, and the 4th knob for layer 4. If I hit the Qlink button again, then I'm on the fine tune column, and the first knob would adjust the fine tune of the layer 1 sample. And finally, the 4th column would adjust the levels for the 4 layers of samples. In the next video, we'll take a quick look at the rear panel of the MPC Touch.